I might be taking it a little too far, but I'm really bored and I've just been tinkering like crazy. So I'm building a pneumatically actuated gun, but only the bolt will be pneumatically actuated. The rest is an actual gun that will take an actual bullet. This is just, I threw it together. This is all just because I'm still brainstorming. This is why it's this way. I mean, this might still be used, but the tape is going to be switched out for probably more of this. But yeah, so I'll have to go and get some stuff because it turns out I'll get the metal version of this. Not this elbow, but a straight collar, the metal version of it from Lowe's. Yeah, I'll have to, when I put this on here, I'll have to make sure it's on there with a gap because I don't think I can get this on there now. But either way, it's because this is too tight. But either way, so I'll get a metal version of this, like a collar that slips, this size slips over that perfectly. Okay? And so then, again, metal instead of plastic. So the collar, which will slip over that, and it won't like be permanently attached. So the barrel will be attached here, where it is now. And so this all will have a collar, and it can attach, and there will be a bolt that floats in here. And I'll put a little tiny spring, which will be pinned in place, or just have the spring bend the wire, one end of it to come out a little hole so that it stays in place. Little small spring. I've got the perfect spring in mind laying around somewheres. I'll cut a section off of it. Here it is. It's really weak spring. I'll cut like that much, and that's all that will be in there. And that will be attached to this, not the barrel. Okay, so not this, obviously, the metal version. And so that will be attached to this. So that way the bolt can't drop out. And obviously the bolt can't just, like if you're just carrying it and the bolt slides forward on it under its own weight, it won't do anything. Alright? And so on the back of that will be another one of these or something similar for the hose to connect to. Probably not this hose, maybe this hose, just because it's what I got and it's laying around and it's strong enough to handle the PSI. But yes, another one of those, and then it'll come down and around to this, where then you can pull the trigger, or push the trigger in this case, because I'm not going to redesign and try to make a separate push-pull or trigger system down here. I'll just leave it as is. It works. But yeah, and so if I can get the metal version of this to slip on just as tightly as like this size and plastic slips on, great. If not, this part will be metal, but I'll still have a plastic collar because the plastic version slips on perfectly. It's tight enough to where it's not going anywhere, and then when you do it, and like I said, there will be a hole drilled probably right about there, same, give or take, same spot, and that way as the bolt's going forward, there's room for the air to escape in front of it. And then there will also be, when the bolt's all the way forward, there will be a little hole drilled so that the air can escape behind it that's coming out of this. So, makes sense? Makes sense to me. That's how, you know, BB guns and everything works. There's got to be a way out for the air. There's actually some guns that use that same kind of, except for they have tubing instead of just a random open hole drilled, to reload themselves. So they'll use the gas, it's not really air, but it's gas. It'll be coming out the barrel, but down the barrel somewhere, there'll be like a tube and a hole. So the gas will come back, push the bolt back, and then when the bolt's all the way back, the gas has a way to escape. So it's a similar concept, but like I'm not using it to reload, I'm just giving it a way to, because I'm not building a reload system. And I still have to grind this off. This is an actual 22 gun barrel rifle. So I still have to grind the little feed ramp off. No biggie. But and so what's great is I don't have to use any of my other gun parts or my other homemade guns to build this. So I'll technically have 3 homemade guns. This one will be able to be used one-handed. Like, I mean, it's going to be heavy, but technically you can pull the trigger and it fire one-handed. My other 2 you have to use 2 hands to operate. So, like, this one will be the first one that I could just have it sitting there pointed at something and pull the trigger one-handed. It'll be loud to reload because obviously you got to turn the air compressor on to reload it. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if I can, pull the trigger and let off quick enough to keep enough air in here to fire it a couple times and still have enough pressure to set off the bullet. But yeah, the bolt will be in here. Or not the plastic, but yeah. That is freaking awesome, though. I've seen other people do something similar and it just be an air cannon or like I shoot things with air. Air is what pushes the projectile out of the barrel. I'm taking it one step forward and one step further and making this is crazy, and I'm excited for it too because I like building things that actually work and are practical. A gun is very practical. They always come in handy. Whether it be just to scare someone away who's trying to hurt you or whatever, or to find your dinner in the evening, or just to practice. A homemade gun cheap like this is fun to just practice with as long as you're in a safe location. I think that's going to be pretty awesome, and I cannot wait to get it functional. That's going to be exciting. So and it's all legal. It's legal to build your own gun. It's legal to do all of this. I'm not trying to sell it. I'm not trying to conceal it. It looks like a freaking gun. I mean, it's hard to hide a long-ass gun barrel like that. I seen someone else on YouTube make one of these into a little flamethrower, but it wasn't the best design. It was horrible. It leaked a lot of, I think he used kerosene. It leaked all over his hand and it didn't catch him on fire, but it was a potential for a bad day. I'm not going to try anything stupid with this. This isn't beyond my realm. That's why I'm so excited, because I fully understand exactly what I'm building and how all the parts work together. It is very safe, actually. And I only thought about doing this after I used a piece of this hose on that, and I had it at about 75 psi, and I shoved a screw in it backwards. So the screw was, the head of it was going this way, and I shoved it in there and straightened the hose out with my hand, and I got it in there, and this was a little bit longer section. So I've since cut a section off of it, about that much off of it. Alright, and so the screw went through and it got stuck about right here. Figured it would get stuck somewhere, such a long ass piece of tube. So it did. So I recharged it and I straightened it up, and the screw made it to about right here. It got stuck again, about where I, cut the barrel, or cut the tube. And so I recharged it another time, and that screw flew out of there like a dang bullet. And again, about 75 psi. So that's why I cut it here, because that's about how much pipe or tube was left where the screw flew out that fast. So then I was using this, playing around on there, a little short section, and I was seeing if I was right, if that's all the length it needed to shoot the screw really hard. And yeah, that's really all the length you need. So that's why I designed this way, because by the time I attach a piece of hose and I have the bolt part here, and so the other one of these or something like that will be almost over this piece here. So by the time you attach a piece of hose, let me do this. Okay, that's not on there all the way, but hopefully it holds. Hopefully it doesn't pop off. So it needs to be a hair longer than what I have here, otherwise I don't like how tight that bend is. So just a hair longer, which I have more to cut, another piece. But yeah, so about like that, and then you just hold it and fire. And then you, obviously it's going to be a little, actually it's going to be a few inches longer than that, about that much longer. So, you know, and then you just slide it off the back of the barrel to reload. And then, you know, you shake it a little bit. I'm hoping I can make sure the bolt is floating enough to where it moves pretty good, but like I can get it to go down just by like shaking it. If not, I'll have to use like a little ramrod to slide the bolt back in the piece that's going to be connected. Oh, I dropped the phone. Sorry. But yeah, that's going to be an awesome build. It's no like, to hell with using it as a fire extinguisher. Who in the world would want to do that? Why use a fire extinguisher to put out fires when you can use a fire extinguisher to fire a bullet? I mean, come on. That's awesome. I'm excited. I love building things like that. Alright, like, subscribe, let me know what you think. That's all.